Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Catching the Facts podcast here on the Catching the Facts official podcast network. I'm your host, Dan Sisk.
And I'm Schroeder.
And we have a couple of, it was honestly, Eric, it was a pretty crazy week, but particularly in college football. A number of big upsets, a lot of really fun things to talk about. So we have three big college games for you this week. We have Penn State, UCLA, we have Texas and Florida, and we have Miami and Florida State. And then as for the NFL, we're going to talk about Patriots, Bills, and then also Chiefs, Jaguars, because there's some interesting stuff to talk about with those two games. So, Eric, you ready to get into it?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Also, before we get started, guys, I had a number of people reach out to me over the course of the last week, applauding my mental breakdown during last week's episode. I hope you thought it was funny because I had to go through hell and back to get there and entertain you lot. So I'm glad it entertained some of you. Thank you so much for the support. It means a lot to both Eric and myself. Again, continuing to support this show is the best way to help grow our platform here. So talking about the show and whatnot is the best way to do that. So I just wanted to say at the top, thank you very much for that. Even though you got to laugh at my pain and misery, uh, it wasn't great. But yeah, let's get into these games, Eric. So first we got Penn State and UCLA.
Yeah, so Penn State drops now 2 in a row. This one to an unranked UCLA who's looked terrible. They go into UCLA and lose 37-42. Yeah, I mean, they just, I don't know what's going on. The Oregon game, they didn't even play bad. Well, they scored points at least. But this defense is, I mean, they're not good. They suck. Drew Aller once again, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interception this time, so he didn't lose the game that way. But I mean, they just outplayed them, man. Nico Iamaleava, he didn't play too good through the air, but I mean, he demolished on the ground. He had 3 touchdowns. He had 5 touchdowns total, but 3 on the ground,
Yeah.
and which I mean, but I think the reason why he ran so much and why it was working was because of the injury to Tony Rojas, the Penn State linebacker,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
sustained that
That was a
that
huge
injury
loss.
a couple days before the game.
Yeah.
And he took advantage of it. I mean, he rushed for a high career 128 yards, and more than 100 of those yards were on third down, which is huge. I mean, they couldn't get off the field. The Penn State defense, it was rough, and they got some evaluating to do for sure moving forward. And now they're unranked.
Yeah. Yeah, by the end of the second quarter, they were gassed because every third down, every time you thought they were about to get off the field, Maliava would rush for 7-8 yards. Yeah, honestly, I'm not going to overreact. Well, that would imply that last week was an overreaction. I don't feel last week was an overreaction. I felt I reacted perfectly appropriately to Penn State's loss to Oregon in double overtime. But this game, I'll be honest with you, I've seen a number of people say that this might be the worst loss since Michigan versus Appalachian State all these years ago. And I mean, it might be, but I'll be totally honest with you, Eric. Last week created such a sense of apathy in me that I really didn't care, which is sad. I'm supposed to be supportive of this team. I'm supposed to be very, very uplifting when talking about them, but I'm just at the point now where I'm struggling to care. And I think James Franklin is done. I think honestly, Eric, and please disagree with me if you so choose. I think they need to go the Florida State route. Jimbo Fisher overstayed his welcome there, and he won a national championship at Florida State. To be fair, because he lucked into Jameis Winston, but Jimbo Fisher ran. His expiration date was met, and Florida State fired him and went through 3 or 4 years of terrible, terrible play because they couldn't get a good coach. They had two straight big coaching disasters. two failed coaching moves. And then they finally got their hands on Mike Norvell. And they, I mean, at least 2 years ago, had an undefeated season. And this year, they're having a respectable one. I think Penn State is honestly at the position where they need to kind of reset.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too, and, they have to I mean, defense is a huge thing they have to reevaluate, Jim Knowles leaving, Ohio State for Penn State, coming in, and, I mean, he's not calling good plays, it's been terrible. Obviously, they can't deal with that injury, you can't plan for that, but, I mean, you gotta come up with a different game plan, and even on offense, their offense doesn't look too good. I mean, yeah, they scored 37 points, but that's expected against UCLA. Trevor Pena, once again, struggling, 3 receptions, 15 yards, no touchdowns. He's looked horrible as of late. Nick Singleton had more, you know, yards than him
Yeah.
on the air. And then, yeah, just defensively, just really bad.
Yeah.
Um, Nico Iamaleava, he's looked like one of the worst quarterbacks, in the transfer portal that's transferred because he looked good last year.
Yeah.
Transfers to UCLA, he's looked terrible, let him do an 0-4 start, and now 1-4 against a ranked team. This is a huge win for them. And they couldn't stop them. I mean, it was really bad. 269 rushing yards, 166 passing.
Yeah.
166 passing, that's not great, but when you can just, I mean, demolish them on the ground, like even Nico Iamaleava did, I mean, they only punted one time. So it's like
Yeah.
it's that's not good. That's not what you wanna see, especially against an unranked team that you don't want them running all over you, when you're supposed to have a great defense and they had a good defense last year too with Abdul Carter, like, losing into the draft, that's huge, but
Yeah.
you gotta replace him. I mean, and with Jim Knowles, I don't know. I don't know. Moving forward, what do you think they do?
I mean, he's the highest paid coordinator in the sport, and he allowed 42 points against an 0-4 team.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do. I mean, I think you kind of have to keep him at this point, considering his contract. Um, but I mean, he's not really. I agree. He's not showing the. Look, if in the first quarter Yamaliava was making all those running plays, that's one thing, but you got to adjust, right? Knowles didn't adjust, and
No.
that's what was so frustrating about it. Um, Yeah, I think long term you have to keep him. And I also have to say this, Allen and Singleton, arguably one of the best running back duos in the sport for a couple years at this point. These last two games are possibly the worst of their career. I mean, they were completely non-existent against Oregon, and they were completely non-existent here. I mean,
Yeah.
where is this duo? This duo is supposed to be elite. Where are they? Where are
Yeah, their team's I mean, Penn State's a dumpster fire right now with Drew Aller, he's not very good. And then Katron Allen, Nick Singleton struggling. And with Drew Aller not being good, they obviously have receiving issues. We know that. We said it last week. I mean, they struggle at receiver, obviously. Their top receiver had 52 yards with four receptions. It's like when does it end and when do they start turning around, at least in that department? I mean, you would think they would be able to recruit some in like you said last week, like Drew Aller, he was the number one recruit coming into the like college football.
Yeah,
And he hasn't lived up to the hype. Dante Moore's the best quarterback honestly probably in the country.
I'd agree with
Um
that. He's better than San.
yeah, I think so too. But it's just like it just never ends, man. But this loss is huge. I mean, this is what Penn State. They're the first top 10 team to lose to an 0-4 opponent or worse in 40 years.
Yeah, oof, that's rough.
So, do you think James Franklin's time's up?
Yeah. Again, as I said earlier, I think they have to go the Florida State route.
Yeah,
I think you have to. You're gonna have to bite the dust for a couple years, but eventually it's gonna work out once you find the right coach. In again 3, 4, 5 years, you need a change of pace. You just need it. And I don't know who that is, but someone's gonna have to do it. So also this is interesting, and I guess this is only tangentially related, but Does this say something about Oregon, Eric? Because Oregon, I said last week, and I stand by the fact that I said last week. I think Ohio State and Oregon are the two legit teams in the country. Like, I'm just not buying into Miami and Oklahoma at the moment. But Oregon barely beat this Penn State team, and now Penn State's looking really sketchy.
They are.
You know, and
Yeah,
Penn State's the only notable team that Oregon's played up to this point. So
yeah, for sure.
I think it's a question that we have to have about Oregon because uh, if you're struggling against Penn State, I mean, I think we have to take that into consideration.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, and especially after this loss now, it makes it even worse. Because I mean, quite frankly, they didn't look that good even last week. They barely took that game to overtime with a comeback. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, I don't know. You can't say I still like you said. I still think Oregon and Ohio State are the top best teams in the country. Miami's up there as well for sure, easily. I mean, obviously they're ranked second now, but um, I mean, I don't know. It's just like I feel like it's hard to discredit that win, um,
it is hard.
just because of the environment they were playing in, and even at the time they were still ranked,
Yeah, and you have
top
to take that into consideration. You have to.
five. Yeah, and honestly, I think this time it was just a case of them playing down to their competition, and honestly just being unprepared, especially on defense. I mean, their defense has given up a ton of points as of late, but giving up a ton of points to Oregon, that's justified. Giving up a ton of points to UCLA, an 0-4 UCLA team with Nico Iamaleava, that's not justified. So,
Yeah, completely.
yeah, I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow for sure, but it's just I don't know. It's just hard to discredit the Oregon win at the moment, um, because of the environment they were playing in and what kind of was on the line.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. And honestly, it's sad that I don't really have anything else to say about this game, but I mean, it really is apathy at this point, Eric. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, just I feel like like at this point I'm just so over the constant promises and the constant vows that improvements will be made because I know that they won't be made. Um, and I just have to, you know, rationalize the failure, you know, instead of denying the failure, which I think a lot of fans are going to do. And that's
right.
not specific to Penn State. I mean, that every fan tries to defend, abject failure. I mean, that's not a Penn State specific thing. It's just, I think in this instance, it's been years of this, and we're going on, basically since COVID year when they lost five to start the year, with that weird season. Every year after that, I've been told we would improve, and we haven't. And until Drew Aller and James Franklin are off this roster, um, I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to buy into the hype. I'm not going to buy into the promises. I'm not going to buy into anything.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
just not going to do it. He
Yeah, and if they want to win, I mean, they got to start feeding Katron Allen too. I mean, he only had 8 carries.
That's ridiculous. And I know he and Singleton are having a rough patch right now, but you can't rush Trevor Pena. They tried to rush him last week. It's just they really are just, I think it's all psychological, and that's what's so frustrating. Like, if it was psychological and they were struggling against Iowa, that's one thing, Eric. But this is UCLA, who is 0-4,
Right. Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
you can't do that against UCLA. You just can't do it. So, good win for UCLA. That's a big deal for their program. If they finish 1-11, oh my God, I don't even know what I'll do. I don't. Probably shrug my shoulders in apathy, right? I mean, I think that's the healthiest thing I could do. Um, But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Penn State can even get ranked again at this point. And honestly, Eric, I don't think they will. They're going to have 4 losses because at this point there is no chance they're beating Indiana. So if they're not being Indiana, that's 4 losses because we already know how Ohio State's going to go. So it's a mess. Uh, I didn't think I'd see the day where Drew Aller struggled more than Sean Clifford, but here we are.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought that? Given all the hype
Yeah.
and all the you know so-called experts who were calling him elite in high school, it really is crazy. But uh,
Yeah, and then they go to Northwestern, or they play at home against Northwestern next week. I mean, yeah, I want to say it's a good tune-up game, but this should have been a good tune-up game too against UCLA, and they lost. But
yeah,
I mean, I think it really is though. I mean, they have a chance. The offense has a chance to be way better. I mean, the offense hasn't looked terrible. Um, I mean, they're scoring points. It's just the defense, but Northwestern's a great matchup for this defense coming up because, I mean, Preston Stone, he's so turnover prone. He's thrown like 6 interceptions and he's fumbled the ball 6 times.
that's awful for
Um,
a quarterback. That's
yeah, he lost two fumbles, but he still fumbled 6 times. And I mean, I'm just like kind of waiting for this Penn State secondary to come alive. I mean, they've done nothing these past 2 games, and
yeah,
I mean, I guess the UCLA receivers, it's just like it's inexcusable. I mean,
yeah.
it's really bad.
There's no defense
So
for it. There's no
no,
defense
no.
for it. There really isn't. So I mean, we'll see where they go, but right now it's just a disaster. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm not gonna scream again this week, guys. I've been working. I'm tired. I don't want to scream. I just don't want to. Last week I got it off my chest because I had to, but this week, I mean, it's just such a pathetic loss that I'm not gonna think too long and hard about it because that would be giving. I would be Eric. You know what I would be doing? I'd be putting more thought into this game than the players did while they were playing it. So I'm just not gonna stoop to their lows. Um, and do that. So that's all I have on that game. What about you?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. I'm excited to talk about this one. Number 9, Texas visiting Florida. Eric, what do you have on that one?
Yeah, Texas goes in Florida and they lose 21-29. Now Texas is unranked. They have 2 losses. Arch Manning, I mean, he's another guy that comes in, man, and he's been struggling horrendously. He's looked so bad as of late. And what was that? A few weeks ago, they were saying, which I saw it in that one game. I can't remember who they were playing. They're maybe UTEP.
I believe that was the week
Yeah,
2, right?
yeah, week 2 against UTEP. They were saying he might have had a little arm issue. That's why he didn't play that good. I mean, he looked perfectly fine to me in this game, and he looked terrible. 16 for 29, 263 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It's just like, what is he doing? He comes in with all this hype just because of his last name, and I mean, he's looked horrible. And again, I mean, DJ Lagway, he's good, but he's not that good.
He's not.
He went 21 for 28, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. But I mean, both these quarterbacks struggle. They're not that good, and this is a Texas team that really should have won this game. I mean, Florida, they have 3 losses already, and one of them's to UCL or LSU. It's just it's not good. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
horrible game for Arch Manning once again, and it's just like Drew Aller, but worse, honestly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree he's worse than Drew Allen. I also think I should start out by saying, boy, Florida is all over the place, right? Like
Yeah,
we start to buy into the hype, and then they lose a disastrous uh unranked, then they have a disastrous unranked loss, right? Then we start to buy into their demise as a program, and then they beat number 9 Texas.
right,
I
yeah.
mean, you lose to USF, but you beat Texas. I mean, explain that to me. I just look. I can't explain the Florida football program. I can't explain Billy Napier. I don't know if he's out at the end of at the end of this year, uh, this loss probably saved his job, if we're being totally honest. They have a really difficult schedule. We're not going to repeat what we've already said about Florida. As Eric just said, and I agree, this is about Texas. Arch Manning is an absolute freaking disaster. I mean, he is, for all the hype and for all the freaking commercials of him, to deliver like this is just truly pathetic. It really, really is. Uh, I was told that he was a dual threat. Eric, where's the dual threat?
Yeah,
Where's
there is none.
where's the dual threat? I was told there was one. I mean, he's just, he can't move. Um, and it's not like he has a bad offensive line. I mean, Sarkisian has always been pretty good at recruiting linemen. It's just, it's an absolute mess. Um, and it arguably kills Texas's playoff hopes. I did see a stat, Eric, that was really interesting to me. The preseason number one was Texas. The preseason number two was Penn State, and the preseason number four was Clemson. Those three teams combined are 8-7 to start the year.
Wow.
Think of,
Wow, that's
isn't that crazy? I mean,
yeah.
talk about three programs that just really went into the dumpster. Um, just a colossal messes in all three of those programs. At least in, I guess, in that perspective, from that perspective, Texas and Penn State aren't in as bad a shape as Clemson, right? So I guess that's silver lining for Longhorns and Nittany Lions fans. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to believe preseason rankings ever again. They're a complete waste of time. They're a complete waste of the committee's times, who, the committees who put those rankings together. Um, and yeah, it really shows you how important quarterback play is, man. Manning
Yes.
and Aller were supposed to lead Texas and Penn State to finally getting over the hump, right? And finally getting these championships that they so desired. And both of these men have collapsed flat on their face. And while you could argue that Aller is playing worse than Manning, I think what puts Manning, what labels him as a bigger disaster, at least in my opinion, is all the hype and
I
all
agree. Yep.
and all
Yeah.
and all
I
the,
mean,
and all the commercials and all that stuff. Yeah,
and even after this game, I mean, people like, like sources were still giving him praise. I mean, it was just like, now I understand his line is terrible. I mean, their O line sucks.
yeah,
And that's part of the reason. But and I mean, probably why he was forcing some throws that probably shouldn't have been made. But he has to notice to maybe throw the ball away or do anything. I mean, it's just like it's ridiculous. All this hype around him, and he's not good. Yeah, and you said like he's a dual threat. I mean, there's honestly no dual or threat
yeah.
coming from Arch
You're
Manning.
right.
He's not a threat.
Yeah,
I mean,
his last drive, dude.
oh
He hit the last drive was legitimately some of the worst quarterback play you'll ever see. He was throwing balls into double coverage. He couldn't read a pre-snap defense. He couldn't escape the D lineman. I mean, it was a drive to forget. It was a disaster. Like, honestly, if you guys want to know exactly what's wrong with Arch Manning, watch the final drive against Florida. That's all you need to see.
yeah,
Awful, awful,
yeah.
truly awful.
Honestly, I mean, yeah, and like you said, I mean, this Florida team's all over the place. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. They already have 3 losses, 5 games into the year, and then they just come in and beat number 9 Texas.
Yeah,
DJ Lagway played one of his best games of the year, if not the best. Even with that interception. But it's just like, I mean, they just dominated them. It wasn't, and it's 21. Yeah, the score's 21-29, but it wasn't that close. I mean, they dominated them on the ground, easily. I mean, Florida's defense looked great stopping the run. They only allowed um, the running back to get 11 yards and a touchdown on 8 carries. So it's just they
yeah,
stopped them. They did a great job of that. And then even through the air, they only allowed DeAndre Moore Jr. and Ryan Wingo, 75 and 73 yards with 1 touchdown combined, 7 catches combined between the both of them. Their defense played good,
Yeah.
and especially with the and also, I mean, Texas coming into the year, when they played Ohio State, they're like, oh, they're the best defense in college football. Maybe, I mean, they looked really good against Ohio State, but they looked so bad in this game. They couldn't
Yeah.
stop anything.
They couldn't.
Now going off of your point for the Oregon game, do you think this loss makes Ohio State look worse?
You can make the argument, but I think the difference between them and Oregon is that, with the exception of the Oklahoma State game, where Oregon just, I mean, Eric, that was like a beatdown of biblical proportions. With the exception of that game, Oregon always, and I don't want to say control. I'll use the word controls, because they don't. I mean, they win by big scores, but they don't like physically dominate down to down,
Mhm.
drive to drive.
Right.
You watched that Ohio State Minnesota game, and I watched a
Oh, yeah.
decent portion of it. Literally every single down, Ohio State was absolutely pummeling the snot out of Minnesota. And so I think we can take Ohio State a little more seriously than Oregon, because of just the sheer physicality of that team. I'm seeing some comparisons, Eric, and obviously it's a little early to fully declare this, but people putting this team on par with the 2019 LSU team and the 2022 Georgia team.
Oh, wow.
And those are the two teams that went undefeated, won their conferences, won the conference championship, and won the national championship. Two perfect seasons. LSU with probably the best offense in the history of the sport. So, with two guys on pace for the Hall of Fame, right? and Jamar Chase and Jefferson, and then a third guy who is on pace for the Hall of Fame in Burrow if he can stay healthy. Um, I mean that's high praise, and I'm seeing people compare this Ohio State team, to those teams, which is a big deal. Um, so I think that, again, I think the physicality makes Ohio State. It allows Ohio State to be taken a little more seriously, um, whereas with Oregon, it's Ohio State never really struggled against Texas. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ohio State was in control of that game, even if it was only a one-score victory.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess. But now with this loss to a Florida team that obviously isn't so great. I mean, Ohio State's strength of schedule is plummeting quickly. They only have 2 more ranked matchups with Illinois and Michigan, who's not very good either, and they'll probably lose anyway.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so I mean, their strength of schedule is pretty weak,
but
honestly.
honestly, dude, like, that doesn't matter when you're number one.
Right?
If
Yeah.
you are in, like, the MAC, then an undefeated season means nothing. If you are in the Big Ten and it's an undefeated season, I don't care what your strength of schedule is. You're going far,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be number one. Um, you mentioned they have Illinois next week. That's their first true big test post Texas. Every game in between then has been a cakewalk. Um, Wisconsin is on the road. We'll see if that can be problematic. I mean, Wisconsin can be a difficult place to play.
For
Um,
sure. Yeah.
I think Penn State's obviously a cakewalk. We know how that ends. Purdue, cakewalk. UCLA, cakewalk. Rutgers, cakewalk. And then Michigan, I don't care that it's in Michigan. They'll win that game. So, I
You
mean,
better.
yeah, it doesn't matter if they win the national championship. If they lose that game, you're going to have a stroke. Um, yeah, so I think this is turning into an Ohio State conversation, so I don't want
Yeah.
to go on for too long. But to answer your question, I think Ohio State is totally fine. I don't think this loss um, hurts them.
It doesn't negate that win.
I don't think so. No, because
Yeah.
again, that was a really hard fought victory, and
Mhm.
everyone, and I assure you, because that was the game week one. Everyone on that
Yeah,
committee saw every down of that game. I assure you, and they would see that every down of that game was controlled by Ohio State. I don't care that they only won by 7 points. I
yeah.
don't care.
Yeah,
They dominated.
yeah, and then moving forward with Texas, they play Oklahoma next week, so they're I mean,
Ooh,
geez, if they
that's a
but
hard, yeah.
it's gonna be tough, it's gonna be tough, yeah, so,
And that'll be a really interesting game because I think that's the moment for Oklahoma. Can we take Oklahoma
for sure.
seriously?
Yep. I think it'll still be a close game, though, but Archman, he's gotta step up.
He needs to.
The line has to hold, they're not giving him too much time back there, so it's forcing him to panic and make bad throws and bad decisions, but, I mean, he clearly obviously can't really use his legs too well right now. Only 15 carries in this game for 37 yards. I mean, he's not looking good, and it's alarming.
Yeah. Time to pay the piper, Arch. You sold your soul for your last name. Let's see if you can finally deliver. It's gonna be really interesting. Again, I think next week is the that's a big game. We'll definitely be talking about that one because
Yep,
that's a big deal game.
for
Um,
sure.
but that's all I have on that one. What about you?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, so we have number 3 Miami against number 18 Florida State. Eric, what do you have on that one?
Yeah, arguably the game of the week, would you say?
I mean, definitely. I mean, ESPN was hyping it up, right, as the Saturday night
Yeah.
game. They had Herb Street and Fowler on it. I thought the first half was kind of unwatchable, but I mean, it ended up being a decent game,
Yeah.
all around. But I wasn't particularly blown away by either team, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah, so, yeah, Miami goes into Florida State, wins it 28-22. Now Florida State's ranked 25, Miami's ranked number 2. They jump in the number 2 spot. Yeah, I mean, how'd you think about Carson Beck? How'd you think about his play?
He looked pretty good. I mean, 20 for 27, 241 passing yards, 4 TDs, and no picks. That's a very, very good game, especially on the road. That's very good performance. We've discussed this last week, dude. He and Mario Cristobal just have a bond, right? I mean,
Yeah.
those two, their connection is really, really good. You have the right quarterback and the right head coach. Um, no rushing game whatsoever for Miami, but that you don't need it when Beck is playing as well as he is. As for Florida State, I mean, he delivered in the fourth quarter with a number of points, to be fair, but Tommy Castellanos, people were really hyping him up. He did absolutely nothing. Two picks early on, which really killed momentum. Um, 272 passing yards overall. He had a couple rushing yards, but nothing that ended up being a game change. He wasn't a game changer on the ground. Let's put it that way. Um, yeah, it was just a game that Florida State ended up making a decent comeback, but by the time they were starting to click into gear, it was too late to fully come back. Um, I do not agree with Miami at 2. To be honest with you, I think that's a little high. I'm not sold on Miami and Oklahoma. I mean, are you?
Um, hmm. Uh, I don't know. I mean, I think they put him at 2 just because they beat Florida. They killed Florida last week, and then Florida comes in, beats number 9, Texas, and then they beat Florida
Yeah.
State here, who beat Alabama.
That
Honestly,
Miami victory against Florida is definitely what
I
ultimately
don't
comes.
mind Miami at 2 right now, just because and they also beat Notre Dame. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind it. Um,
Okay.
and I mean, they technically have a ranked win against South Florida as well now.
That's
Uh,
true. I forgot
so
about that. That's very accurate.
so I mean, they've played some competition, but so I don't mind them at 2. Because just with also Carson Beck's play, he's looked really good. All year so far, and especially in this game, because I mean that's a tough environment to play in. Lackluster first quarter, only 14 points, and then or sorry, first half, and then I
Okay.
mean I don't. They played okay. They played okay. I mean, 28 points, that's solid, but I mean, it's not anything to get too excited about.
Sure.
In this game, I mean, it was close, but it wasn't that close.
Yeah.
Um, Florida State kind of showed life at the very end there with a 19-point fourth quarter, but it was 28-3. And we know only Tom Brady can come back from 28-3. So
Yeah.
not Tommy Castellanos.
Yeah. That's very true. Very, very true. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just not buying into Miami overall. They're not bad, but and I just praised Carson Beck, but my gut tells me that when they're in the big moment, the team will fold.
Okay, yeah.
I just don't think this team has what it takes to beat the Ohio States and the Oregons. But
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're not there yet. I think they're obviously on another level of like clearly better than Notre Dame, Florida, all
yeah,
those guys that they beat, but they're not quite to the very top yet.
no, they're very, very good. I'm
Yes.
hesitant to call them elite.
Yeah, I agree. Last year their season was also good with Cam Ward. So they're definitely they're trending upwards for sure. But it's going to be tough and just until the playoffs honestly come around. I mean, they could definitely make a deep run.
It
Um,
could. It depends on what the matchups are, of
for
course.
sure. But honestly, out of I think two is an appropriate spot to put them. Just because of how Oregon played against Penn State. Obviously, there was a ranked matchup at the time, but now with Penn State losing to UCLA, I don't mind it.
Okay. Okay. I can live with that. I think what helps with Miami is that their schedule for the rest of the year is paper thin, like
Yeah.
non-existent. I'm seeing
Well, I mean,
Louisville's.
it's because they're in the ACC, man.
Yeah, just absolute trash. They play Louisville, Stanford, SMU, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, and Pitt. I mean, come on, man. Like that is so bad. We're talking about Ohio State's strength of schedule. I'd argue Miami's is pathetic. I mean, because Notre Dame, we're not buying into Notre Dame at this point. So that number
Right.
6 win, yeah, that means nothing. So yeah, I honestly, I think at this point we're not going to really know about Miami until the playoff.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because like you said, their schedule's paper thin. Pitt could get ranked with their new quarterback coming in, but I mean,
But again, we need to see if this guy, if the freshman for Pitt, I don't remember his name, if he can make the throws that Holstein missed. I mean, we need to see if
yeah,
Pitt can. If I mean, yeah, maybe Pitt can squeeze into a ranked.
maybe, but even then, it's not an impressive win.
It's not.
If you're, because as the number 2 team, you should be beating, the 22 team. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, completely agree.
um, yeah, they'll probably only maybe have one more ranked game because Syracuse, even with that win against Clemson, they lost, so they're not going to get ranked. Um, and Clemson's obviously not that good either. Cade Klubnik,
Yeah,
that's a whole nother story. But yeah, but they've looked good to start out, and honestly, a pretty top heavy schedule so far, and they kind of deserve a few easy games, but the rest of their schedule's easy, so
yeah,
it's gonna be tough to. But I think as of right now, this week, number 2 is where they should be.
yeah. Okay, okay, that's fair. That's fair. I respect your opinion. I do. Okay, that's all I have on that game. What about you?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, guys, moving on to the NFL, the two big games of the week, which are big ones. There's a lot to discuss here. So we have New England at Buffalo. Eric?
Yeah, so New England goes into Buffalo and beats them 23-20. Drake May looked good, and Josh Allen, he honestly didn't look that good. I mean, it was just this whole game was very sloppy, discipline wise from both teams.
Yeah.
A lot of penalties coming in.
The fumbles.
Yeah, the Bills had 90 yards of penalties and the Patriots had 93. Yeah, and yeah, that transfer to James Cook was James Cook. He looked horrible all game as well. He only had like 49 yards.
On the
Which
ground, yeah.
James Cook, he's looked so good this year so far, and it was surprising to see him struggle against the Patriots.
Yeah. Yeah, he normally makes he's normally a difference maker, but in this game he was a difference maker in all the wrong ways.
Yeah, for sure. Because with that handoff, it went on Josh Allen, but
Yeah, that was
it's I mean, it's still a fumble. You gotta I mean, you gotta secure that.
yeah.
And then, I mean, Josh Allen's interception as well. 2 touchdowns for Josh Allen, but he didn't look that good, honestly, because it was I mean, they were just shutting him down. And the top receiver now, obviously, they have a little bit of receiving issues, a very young receiving core with Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman, who what? Didn't Keon yeah, Keon Coleman just got benched, actually,
Yeah, he did.
um, for discipline reasons, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just it's just, like, so ridiculous, and it's gonna be tough moving forward without, um, Keon Coleman because he's a difference maker. Even though he only put up 23 yards, he still had a touchdown, which makes him closer, but, um, I thought he would look way better, especially in this game, but he didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think the Bills at this point, we all know who they are. They're going to they're a team that easily gets wrapped up in the moment, right? I think last week's statement victory against the Saints kind of put them in a position to uh get complacent, and I think they went into this game unprepared. I think that opening weekend victory. Now, say what you will about the Ravens at this point, but going into Week 1, that was a huge win for Buffalo, right? And
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I think they definitely carried that momentum through the next few weeks, and they finally got complacent and they didn't prepare the way they should. I mean,
Yeah,
and you can't just go in unprepared against Mike Vrabel. I mean, Mike Vrabel is one of the most respected head coaches in the league. I mean, he knows what he's doing. You got to go in prepared, and this Bills team looks like you said all over the place, extremely sloppy. All the penalties, both of the fumbles. It was and the interception.
yeah,
It just I almost forgot about the pick. It just doesn't. It resulted in. And here's the thing: it shows how talented the Bills are because despite all that, they still only lost by a field goal.
exactly. Yeah, that's another huge thing because when you turn over the ball 3 times, you're definitely not gonna win, they didn't, but you're honestly not really expected to even get that close. I mean, that's a 21-point swing if they score on all of those. So, yeah, yeah,
That's a game if they're in the playoffs and they're like one game out of the 1 seed, they're gonna be kicking themselves.
for
Like
sure.
they'll just be like, "Oh my god, we lost to the freaking Patriots, and now now we're the 2nd seed. Now we got to go on the road for the championship game." I mean, that sucks. But we'll see what goes on with Buffalo. I'm not reading this as a disaster at all. I mean, it's a blip.
No,
Any
no,
given Sunday.
it's a minor setback.
Yeah, I agree. It's a minor setback. I mean, as we've discussed, this team, we can't honestly take them seriously until January, and even then, they always choke when it matters most. So, we gotta, be, at this point, no one in Buffalo really cares about the regular season. They only really care about January. So, uh, I mean,
Yeah,
at this point, Allen will keep going the way he does. This was a blip for him. I'm not reading too much into it. Every
yeah, for
every
sure. I
quarterback
mean,
has it.
yeah, definitely.
So,
And then, yeah, then Stephon Diggs return game as well to Buffalo.
oh, that's true. That's true. We haven't
Um,
talked about that yet.
he had a good game. 10 receptions, 146 yards. I mean, he was a difference maker because the next closest is Hunter Henry who had 46 yards. I mean, 10 targets for Stephon Diggs, who kind of got off to a slow start this year. Besides last week and this week, but comes into Buffalo and just an absolute game changer like he was for the Bills.
Yeah,
And arguably for the Texans, before he got hurt, but
and the Vikings. I mean, he made the play
yeah.
that it's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
one of the best
Yeah,
plays in the history of that franchise, right?
for sure. Yeah,
So,
so,
yeah, big game.
great game for him as well, and that's good for him, so 'cause
Yeah,
I mean, you know he wanted to play good.
yeah. As for the Patriots, I mean, look, they're on the way back up. They had a setback once Belichick left, and they had to kind of reset everything. But Drake May looks like he's not one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but definitely a very, very respected young quarterback who's going to make a play here and there that he needs to make. And we'll see how far they can really go. They might Are they a dark horse wild card contender? I think they are. So
Yeah,
we'll
they might
see.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can carry this momentum. Their schedule coming up is not that bad. They have the
No.
Saints, the Titans, the Browns, the Falcons, the Bucks, and the Jets. I mean, you can work with that. So if
Yeah,
they
and their
can win,
division isn't too crazy either. I mean, that's a division win right there against the Bills.
yeah. So if they can win, you know, what, 4 of those 6, we could be having some real conversations about them. So
Yeah, for sure. I honestly, yeah, I don't think that's too crazy to say because, I mean, yeah, I think they do honestly make the playoffs as a maybe, maybe like I don't know, like as a high seed, but
yeah,
they can definitely squeak in if they keep playing like this, and if they just have to start closing out games and scoring off of those turnovers. That's a big part of
yeah.
that.
I agree.
They just have to start capitalizing.
May often doesn't take advantage of the opportunities that fall into his lap. He often has to take the long way, go the hard way and go down the entire field. He doesn't do a great job capitalizing on
Right.
opportunities handed to him. And you got to take advantage of every single opportunity that teams in the playoffs give you. So he has to figure out how to do that if the Patriots want to truly level up. But this year, we're not expecting them to level up. We're just expecting them to get to
No.
the playoffs. And I think that
Yeah.
at this point, there's a very real possibility. Because look, the Titans and Jets, those are 2 gimme games, right? And then the Browns bastards just traded Joe Flacco. An American hero Joe Flacco was just traded to the Bengals.
American.
So, and now the Browns victory. I mean, Dylan Gabriel looked okay, I guess, but he's not gonna be able to deliver against a team like the Patriots. So, there are a number of victories there, man. The Patriots have a chance. It just depends on if they can bring it all together.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's all I have in that one. What about you?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. I gotta admit, Eric, I tripped twice up the stairs on my way up to my computer because I thought about this game and I realized how excited I was to talk about it because I am ready to tear the Chiefs a new one. I am so ready.
Oh my
I am so excited. Let's do this. So guys, we have the Chiefs visiting the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, so the Chiefs lose it 28-31 in dramatic fashion against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chiefs struggling, plagued by injuries. Um, but it's really no excuse when you have Patrick Mahomes under center because he didn't look that good. He threw the ball 41 times, 300 yards, touchdown, interception,
Yeah,
60 yards on the ground. He was their leading rusher, but they really lack in honestly every position but quarterback
I
as of
agree.
right
They
now.
have their receivers, dude, are so bad. They have no depth. None.
No,
No
nope.
depth at all.
Well, because they're using their depth right now because of all the injuries.
Yeah, and the depth's getting exposed. And
Yeah,
I mean, Kelsey is past his prime. He's not the difference maker he was. He's going to the Hall of Fame. No one's arguing that. But at this point in his career, he can only do so much, right?
yeah, for sure.
Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown have not worked out the way that anyone wanted them to. And it's really not working out for the Chiefs. I mean, there's only so much Mahomes can do. He is truly a unicorn, probably the best quarterback that either of us have ever seen or will ever see. But I think it's hard. I think we're hard pressed to argue that this guy can take this roster deep into the playoffs. And at this rate, they might not even make the playoffs, dude. They might go
Yeah,
9.
I mean, the losses are piling up for them,
Yeah,
and I mean, they lost that first division game against the Chargers, and it's tough. But I mean, obviously they were winning this game, by the way.
sure.
Um, and until the very last play, Trevor Lawrence trips twice and then runs it into the end zone. It was an unreal play.
Unreal play. Unbelievable. And you
Yeah,
know what's bad? He tripped twice and the D line didn't get to him until he was on his feet running to the end zone.
yeah. Which
That is
that's
so bad.
yeah. Which
So
that's another thing, man. Um, Did you see Chris Jones during that play?
I did.
He wasn't doing anything.
All that money they paid him.
They paid him so much money. He did that dramatic, holdout
Hold out. Yep.
for nothing. He and it's I mean it's week in week out. He was talking to Jalen Hurts saying something. I don't even remember what he was saying. Something stupid.
Yeah.
When the Eagles were kneeling the game out in the game once again that the Chiefs lost, and he just needs to learn to shut his mouth and just play the game,
I
man.
agree.
He has looked so bad. His effort is terrible. His attitude's terrible. I mean, but he's a Jones brother, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, but as for the Chiefs at large, dude, look, let's be honest. Their losses are against the Chargers, the Eagles, and the Jags. All three of those teams are pretty good. All three of those teams have good records. All three of those teams are going to be making the playoffs, right? The two victories are against the Giants and the Ravens, two dumpster fires right now. I think that's
Yeah,
very telling about the Chiefs. The Chiefs aren't
for
so
sure.
bad that they lose to the bottom feeders, right? But they aren't good enough to compete with the truly good teams in the conference.
Yeah, they're
Um,
they're just middle of the road right now,
yeah,
and
they're middle of the
um,
yep.
now at the time when they did play the Chargers were healthy. Now they're plagued with injuries everywhere, and they honestly are starting to decline a little bit.
They are
But um, and I mean the Ravens right now as well. I mean,
that team.
oh man,
We almost talked about that game because that's just that team is a that's truly embarrassing. But that's a whole
I mean
conversation.
the entire AFC North right now except the Steelers. But anyway,
You're right.
um,
You're right. You're right.
but I mean, look, we know Patrick Mahomes is a game changer. He's one of the greatest of all
Uh
time,
huh.
one of the greatest of all time. Um, but with this roster, I can't see him going anywhere.
I agree.
This is if the Bills really want to make a statement, they always lose to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. This is the year. The Bills obviously have to figure out their roster as well. And this, that turnover, a couple of turnovers from Josh Allen, that's not like him. Maybe, yeah, I mean, first year Josh Allen, yeah, for sure. Not anymore. He solidified himself as a great quarterback, but this is the year to really kind of pay attention to the Chiefs because they're going to start. I mean, they're already struggling, but they're going to start to struggle even more with the injuries they have. Now they did just get Xavier Worthy back, but I don't think that'll be enough for them to really propel further and honestly make it really that big of a difference.
Yeah. Like I'm looking at the schedule, dude. The Chiefs schedule. They have a bye week. The second week, the second weekend of November. They're full. Up to that bye week, they have the Lions, the Raiders, the Commanders, and the Bills. They're gonna
Yeah.
lose three of those games. They're gonna lose to Detroit. They're gonna lose to Washington. They're gonna lose to Buffalo. That'll put them at 3-6 going into the bye. There's a very good chance they don't make the playoffs, and that is a crazy statement. I recognize that, but I mean, they just can't compete with the big guns in the sport. There isn't enough offense. There isn't. So we'll see what happens, but I'm not. I wouldn't be buying Chiefs stock right now.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
I would not. So it'll be interesting. As for the Jaguars, are we buying into them?
I don't know, man. Trevor Lawrence, he's looked good. I don't really like Trevor Lawrence that much,
I
but
don't either.
um, I
I
mean, yeah.
Clemson.
I mean, I don't know. They don't really have too many, honestly, really impressive wins that really stood out to me
Yeah.
so far, and except maybe this Chiefs game, but the Chiefs starting to show that they're not that great. They beat a hurt 49ers team last week. Texans, they're just okay. CJ Stroud's obviously declined. And it's obviously hard to live up to the season he had last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's tough. And then they did play the Bengals, which they lost that game. But
Sure, but
now,
that's the game where Burrow got hurt, and
exactly right.
so if that's your one loss, I mean, to Burrow, that you can't just look past that, man. Like
No, definitely not.
the fact that that's their one loss. Again, I'm not gonna go all in on Jacksonville because Lawrence has yet to prove to me that he can, that he's worthy of like all the money they gave him.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to at least keep an eye on them. They're interesting to watch. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that is Trevor Lawrence. I don't know how much of that's Travis Hunter. I don't know who we're putting the credit, who we're giving the credit to, but we should be giving them some props because they're a very sneaky NFC South contender. I think they're definitely going to win the division because the Falcons look very middle of the road, and then Saints and Panthers look like disasters. Um, so with the division in the bag, I mean, we'll see if they can do anything with that. I mean, that's a good
Yeah, for sure.
opportunity. They're not going to be like the number one seed in the AFC or anything, but
No.
they could get a home playoff game, which is crazy. I like just the thought of Jacksonville, Florida hosting a home playoff game for the NFL is crazy to me. But yeah, honestly, no, I think the Jags could make noise. They have Seattle, the Rams, the Raiders, the Texans, the Chargers. Um, okay. It's not a great schedule. Um, Not a lot of great teams. I mean, the Raiders they'll beat, the Texans they'll beat, the Seahawks they'll beat. I mean, dude, you're looking at a team with a number of wins potentially, like a
Yeah,
lot
for
of.
sure, and especially with the talent they have with Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr. finally coming around, and Travis Hunter, he had a good game as well. And which how do you feel about Travis Hunter?
That juke was awesome. Wasn't that juke the best? Oh my god,
Oh yeah,
that was like a Madden play. Um,
I mean, he looked like he did in college.
he did. I don't know if he's going to be an MVP candidate. I don't know if he's going to be, truly the height of what he was in college, or what the reports and the scouts said about him, or what his father was. But I think he can. Or sorry, I was thinking of Schroeder. Wrong guy. I was thinking, or what his coach thought he was, is what I meant to say. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know if Travis Hunter will truly be, an MVP player in this league, but he has the potential to be a difference maker, and I think that there's a lot of, you know, who else do the Jags have really on offense? I mean, they have a couple decent running backs.
yeah. And well,
He's a large,
ETN,
yeah,
ETN's declined.
yeah, definitely. But I mean, ETN can still make a play, right?
Oh
Um,
yeah,
but Hunter is definitely going to be a large portion of that receiving game. So he's going to have to step up if they want to truly take the next step. He has that potential. I don't know if I've seen it just yet, but he's making a lot of really, really good plays so far. And he's developing. He's learning. You're not going to become a stud year one. It can happen, but it's so rare.
yeah,
Malik neighbors don't grow on trees. So
right.
you just have to be honest about who he is. He is a smaller guy. Um, we'll see what happens there. I think there's a lot of up in the air with him.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, for
let's
sure.
put it this way: there's a lot up in the air, but it's leaning positive.
Yep. Yeah,
That's how I'd
definitely. Yeah,
phrase it.
for sure.
That's how I'd phrase
Yep.
it.
Totally.
That's all I have in that game. What about you?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, guys. So thank you so much for listening to episode 6 of Catching the Facts here on the Catching the Facts official podcast network. Pretty interesting week overall. The NFL games were pretty nuts if I do say so myself. I mean,
Yeah.
that double trip is going to go down. That double trip is going to be one of the plays of the year, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, the losses for Texas and Penn State weren't entirely shocking, but were definitely seismic. So definitely an intriguing week of games for the sport overall. Looking at this week, we got for the NFL. I mean, I guess for Steelers fans who are listening to this, they play the Browns. That's not that's nothing. I don't care about that. But there's really not a lot of good games. I mean, Indy and Arizona could be interesting. Kyler Murray is constantly a tease. Will he ever take the next step? We don't know. Seattle, Jacksonville. Seattle isn't very good, but they're not unwatchable. So that could be an interesting game. I think the biggest game for me is going to be Detroit and Kansas City. Is Kansas City truly on the decline? I think that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and then San Fran and Tampa, both Form One teams. That could be compelling too, but not too much in the world of the NFL. As for college football, I will be attending next week's Penn State Northwestern football game. I will be there in person. I doubt we're going to talk about it. I would be shocked if there's anything in that game that's worthy of our discussion.
Yeah,
Um, but it's definitely something that we'll keep an eye on. Alabama, Missouri, and OSU, Illinois are probably are definitely two really big ones. Oregon and Indiana is another big one. College, there are some interesting matchups. Um, are there any big games I'm forgetting, Eric?
for college.
Yeah, for college, I think those are the three big ones in college. Pitt play. Oh, I forgot this one. Pitt is at Florida State. So,
That might be the game of the week.
lol. That'll be funny. That's gonna be a funny one. Um, yeah, I'm excited to talk about Ohio State in depth next week,
For
Eric,
sure.
because
Yeah, because we haven't talked about them since week
I
1.
know, and I've honestly been wanting to because I really think
Yep.
there's a physicality with that team that is that's going to be impossible to stop. So they have a 14.5 point. They're favored by 14.5 on the road at number 17. Think about that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's insane. So, and then Bama, Missouri, that's a big SEC um competition there. So that'll be interesting. So a couple, NFL is again, as we discussed, the NFL really isn't popping off too much this year. We're talking about the games that we can, but college is continuing to give us a lot of meat on the bones, let's say. There's a lot to talk
yeah, for
about.
sure.
So we'll be talking about those games in depth. As always, guys, our new episodes release every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both YouTube and Spotify. Please follow us on both platforms and, show your support because Spotify just sent me an email saying we needed more viewers based on what our topics are. They're saying that because we are a football podcast, we should be getting more viewers than we do. Um, I mean, that's my fault, I guess. I don't know. Are we doing a great job? That's for you guys to decide. But yeah, no, please support us on both platforms. We're hoping to grow a bigger community here. Thank you guys again for all the support you've done up to this point, and we look forward to continuing the season in subsequent weeks. So again, every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both YouTube and Spotify. Follow us on both of those platforms there. So until then, I'm your host Dan Sisk,
And I'm Eric Schroeder.
and we'll see you next week.